Welcome to My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. Join Larissa and Malerie as they explore biohacking tips for women based on the latest science and research available today. Let them help you unlock your best self. It's time to hack smarter, not harder, together.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to My Wellness Rewired. Today we are talking about, this is a follow-up from our last episode where we talked about hydration and water and the importance of staying hydrated. Today we're going to be talking about minerals. And I just want to clarify, because this is what I learned in doing all this research. Minerals are not all electrolytes. Some are electrolytes, but not all electrolytes are minerals. So very important distinction there. And we'll talk about the top 5 for women today, the top 5 minerals that are important to make sure we are all getting in our diet or supplementation. We'll also talk about common misconceptions, the benefits to keeping those levels high at where they're supposed to be, common barriers to absorbing the minerals that we need, and our recommendations based on our novice research and figuring things out the way that we do who are not pros, scientists, or doctors.
Or women trying to figure it out together.
Yeah, we're just normal gals figuring stuff out. So it is interesting, though. I really thought that minerals and electrolytes were the same thing, like they were synonymous, but it turns out some of them are electrolytes, but then some of them serve other purposes in the body, like immune defense, right? Or brain health, lots of different things, which I guess kind of like vitamins, it makes sense. They don't all do the same thing. They all support sort of different aspects of the human body. So yeah, super fascinating. This is why I love doing this research. I'm super nerdy and figuring all this stuff out for all of y'all's benefits. You're welcome. I love to do it.
I know it is crazy because it's funny how you think and then when you actually look at the research, you're like, oh, that tweet, like even what we thought going into it, which we thought we knew more because of the research we've done, and we're like, oh, that is even more tweaked. Like you got to shift.
Yeah, we got
so
cocky.
It is interesting. It is interesting learning all the different caveats that our body can do and know and that. So going back to what you said, the top five minerals that we're going to talk about today. First is our big heavy hitter, magnesium, is the number one mineral that you can take. So if you haven't started anything, at least start with magnesium and you'll definitely feel the difference on that one. And then we have iron and we have zinc, we have calcium, and we have iodine, which I was like, iodine, what? And that threw me for a loop. I didn't expect iodine to be such a heavy hitter, but it is found in our table salt.
Yeah, it's added so that anybody, just to make sure everybody gets it, kind of like how there's like fluoride in the water because they feel like that keeps people's teeth from rotting out of their heads, right? The general public, It's the same thing with iodine and table salt.
Yeah. So these 5 nutritions are like spark plugs for your body. They help you with over 300 biochemical reactions. They help your hormones stay balanced. They help your muscles function. Women, because we menstruate, because we give birth, we have menopause, we have all these higher stresses that we are common in deficiencies. 75% of women are lacking these key minerals. So these top 5, we really have to pay attention to and help ourselves naturally get these into our regular routine so that they can do their magic.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I got my lab work done, I was deficient in 2 of these, magnesium and iron. And another one that's not on this list is selenium, which I was also deficient in. And that one isn't one of the top 5 for women, but it's still up there somewhere, right? And so it's interesting that just getting lab works done, I've seen how much even who I thought I was being very aware of these things and trying to supplement them and have more of it in my diet, still wasn't hitting the mark on some of these.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to, know your body, own your health. Because if you don't go and actually do the blood work and actually know where you stand on these things, you would have no idea. Because when I went and got mine done, I was shocked at what I was high on, things because I am allergic to dairy, so I can't have a lot of milk and all this stuff. So I thought I was going to be calcium deficient and all this stuff, and then I wasn't. And then things that it was not on my radar at all, like omega-3s was not on my radar at all. And then I was low on that.
Yeah.
So it is interesting how it impacts how you move forward, how you strategize for your own health.
Yeah, it is so interesting. What I would really love for us to do sometime soon is like the bone density scans. What are those called? Like DEXA scans or something.
Yeah.
The only reason why I say that is because one of our sisters has been to the doctor a lot because she had cancer. And one of her doctors told her that the women in our family will have a harder time absorbing calcium and vitamin D, and that that's something that we have to hyper focus on in our diets, and that it's a genetic thing. I don't know all the details. We'll have to find out, but it's always made me curious to see how our bone density looks compared to the average woman,
Yeah.
But that
Yeah,
might
that
be
would be
like
fascinating.
biohacking on steroids. That seems extreme to me, an extreme test. We'll get there, guys. We'll be pros someday, just for you.
Well, it's just like those like 5 genetic markers, that like they test or 5 or 8 or whatever it is. It's not that many, but you get that test once in your life, and then that will tell you some genetics that you can't change. Whereas a lot of the other
Yeah,
things you can change. You can take more magnesium, you can take all these things, but there's 5
right.
genetic things that you just have to address. And I have one of those. So it's interesting to do that research because it kind of like it supported what I was already feeling and already going through. And it just gave like a logic to me. So it gave me more credit to actually addressing the situation and how to overcome the genetic factor.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Okay, all right, we got to get back on task
So,
here. Talking about what these 5 minerals do in the body, like we know magnesium is involved in like 600 plus reactions in the body, right?
yeah.
Regulates stress, sleep, hormones, muscle, fatigue, right? All these things. What about, like, we know iron, like I've always known that that's been for energy, right? But it actually supports carrying oxygen in the blood, which is why you're tired when you're deficient in iron, right? Because your body's just not circulating like it should be.
And 30% of women aged 15 to 50 have low iron due to menstruation, which causes tiredness and brain fog.
That reminds me, I was just talking to my girlfriend this week and she was like, they literally thought she had cancer, and it turns out she's just severely anemic. Like she's just severely low in iron. I'm like, how does that happen? But anyway, that's a whole other story. But like, again, I was like, oh my gosh, I know so much about this. Can we talk?
You're like, I want to validate what I already know and then learn some more.
Right? Like I want to be actively involved in this situation, even though it's only my business so much as you decide to tell me.
Yeah. But I'm there for you every step of the way and I'll support you.
Yes. And also tell you what to do. I mean, support you in healthier decisions.
But I know the best way, in case you're wondering.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Funny.
So zinc, I know, is a huge immune system, right? Right? Like everybody always takes, what is it? The drink that you take when you think you're getting sick. That's like
Emergency.
vitamin C. What is that
Emergency.
called? Emergency. Yes. Well, it turns out it also has a lot of zinc because zinc is huge for immune system support, skin and hormone production. But when you combine it with vitamin C, it absorbs better. So there's something you probably
That's
didn't
why
know.
they're linked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do know that whenever I go on airplanes, like Brad's always telling me, like, take a lot of zinc and vitamin C before you get on an airplane or before you travel, because it helps like build you up and to make it a more successful adventure, right?
Yeah, we did that when we went to Florida and still all got sick, Larissa. So Brad, you failed us. Just kidding.
Maybe what he should say is you need to start at least a week before, not the day before.
Or just not be deficient in zinc, right? Just keep those levels up and then do that, and maybe
Be
you won't get sick.
consistent.
Or maybe you'll only get a little sick. Anyway, traveling, I feel like, is just one of those hard things, right?
Yeah. Well, but 20% of women are zinc deficient. So maybe you're one of the 20%.
Was I deficient in zinc?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I know I was on magnesium and iron, and selenium, because I have to eat Brazil nuts for that one.
Yeah, I don't eat Brazil nuts. And now that you said that, it makes me want to eat Brazil nuts.
They're actually pretty good. I do like them.
Yeah.
Like to have to eat them every day, I'm like not sad about that at all. Sometimes I like eat it with a little bit of dark chocolate. It's perfect.
So it's like a treat.
Yeah, it's delicious.
That's fun.
Okay, so then calcium builds bones and supports muscle function. I feel like we know the most generally about calcium because it's always been such a hot ticket item for women. I feel like
This is one that I thought I was going to be low on, and I wasn't. So I was very pleasantly surprised. Again, when you get your blood work, it's amazing how like things you worry about, it validates, or it defunks it. It's like, no, you don't have to worry about that. Keep doing what you're doing.
Which is why it really blows my mind that lab work has not been more readily accessible to the public.
Yeah,
Like, isn't it just crazy to think that that's a new up and coming thing now that we've both taken advantage of this year, and it's been a life changer. Like, it's so amazing.
And I'm sad that I didn't do it years ago.
Yeah. Yep. Me too. I wish all these years since having babies that I've been trying to just trial and error figure out why my body's falling apart. And I have managed to figure a lot of things out, but this makes it a million times easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're talking about lab work when we're supposed to be talking about minerals, but seriously.
We're talking about calcium. 50% of women are deficient in calcium. So that is a huge number. So calcium is definitely something that women need to look into on an ongoing basis throughout their life and every stage of their life.
Yeah. Yep. And that raises osteoporosis risk, right? So that's women over 50 are lack calcium.
Yes. But you build that up when you're in your 30s and 40s. So you really have to do it in your 30s and 40s so you don't have it when you're in your 50s and 60s and above.
Exactly.
So it's teamwork. You got to do it all through all your stages. And then the last one of the big five is
iodine.
Which this one threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting this one.
Yeah, it supports thyroid function. That's like the biggest thing that it does. But it also, which, that helps you regulate metabolism and mood. But I feel like that when we were doing research, it does a lot for brain health too.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. And not having it, like being deficient when you're like pregnant, and then that can cause a lot of problems for you and the baby. Like you have to, which is why they, like a lot of processed foods, supplement iodine in it because it's so crucial. It's just a crucial mineral, like that everybody needs, but especially women and babies. So that was interesting. I never knew.
And women and studies have found that women are 40% more likely than men to have nutrient deficiencies due to the factors you just said, like pregnancy, breastfeeding, hormonal shifts, menstruation, yada, yada, yada. Like it's almost like all these hacks we're going over, a lot of that, because of all the cycles we go through, it kind of depletes us. And so we have to be very, very explicit and intentional about what we put in our body so that it's constantly rebounding, helping us rebound.
And that's not even talking about the standard American diet, right? And what it does to, as a barrier to absorbing a lot of these minerals. Like it's so interesting. But the thing that was interesting to me about these 5 is that several of them are electrolytes. Magnesium, calcium, these are electrolytes. But like iron, that's not. Like I thought that electrolytes and minerals were the same thing, which we talked about already. But it's still, I look at this list and it just blows my mind that they're actually different things. So it's good to note that like sodium, potassium, magnesium are electrolytes, and then iron, zinc, and iodine are other minerals that support other functions in the body. And so a lot of it ties into hydration, but it also ties into other functions of the body. So very interesting to me. But there are a lot of misconceptions about minerals that I think it's good to clear up that we have figured out over time. One of them is that the myth is food alone is enough, that you can get everything that you need from food, which I think
that was a believer. That was me. I definitely thought that like if you ate healthy and a well-balanced diet, like you got all the minerals and the vitamins and nutrients that you need.
Yeah. I mean, because, and the recommendation really is to eat like whole foods. The more whole foods that you eat and the greater variety of whole foods that you eat, the more you're able to pick up on these nutrients. But the reality is that whole food today is not the same as whole food 30 years ago, right? And so
it's 15 years ago.
Yeah. And then all of the hyper processed food in our country, which is a huge topic of conversation right now, lack minerals, like the processing, soil depletion, all these things. Like a 2019 nutrient study found 50% lower magnesium in crops versus 50 years ago.
Wow.
That's 50% lower.
Wow.
No wonder why we're having huge problems with magnesium deficiencies. And it's causing a lot of problems.
Even if you fed your kids exactly the same type of food that you grew up on, they still would be deficient because it's just not there.
Yeah. The reality is that even though in the past food was enough, it's not enough now. We really do have to be more of detectives to figure out what we're doing, if it's working on an individual basis, and then what needs to be supplemented if it's not, right?
And then it goes to the second myth, which is supplements are risky. And so a lot of people like if you believe the first myth that food is enough, then it follows with kind of suit like the supplements are risky. And like our sister took tons of supplements, and I was like, I don't need to take that many supplements. Like, like tell me what do I have to take? And now here I am with my blood work, and now I'm strategizing based on my blood work what supplements I need to take and to be like longevity and health and wellness and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So supplements are not risky. So that is a myth. We're busting it up. And the 2021 Journal of Dietary Supplements confirms that low risk with proper use. And of course, always consult a doctor if you're unsure, because that is who you should go to for all medical advice, not us.
Well, and also that's what we're doing, right? Like I'm taking supplementation based on doctor recommendation from my lab work from Waste to Well, right? So it's like, but again, you're right. We are not doctors. Don't take our word for it. We're just saying, think about these things and do your own research. And, if you're having a lot of these symptoms, that this could very potentially be one of the big problems, right?
Yeah.
And supplements, there's also that app that we talked about on our lab work episode that is Supco, right?
Yeah.
Where you can scan the supplements you're thinking about taking, and they're a third-party testing confirming quality of products.
So explain what third-party testing is.
So that's basically there's a third party that's not monetarily involved with these companies who are producing supplements and things like that, who is testing those products to make sure they actually contain all of the nutritional information that the label says they contain. And so if they get a good rating from a third-party testing, then you know that what they're claiming is actually true. So that's really
and that's
important
for many things in life, but specifically for this, because you're actually eating it, you're taking it. Like if you really want help, like you need to make sure that it's third party tested. So then you know that when you're taking magnesium, you're getting real magnesium and not like filler, and then like 10% of magnesium. So you want to make sure that if you're going to actually do the work and actually take the time to buy the magnesium and put it into your routine and your habits, it's actually an effective brand so that you can do it, which Supco it's great because it tells you like the rating, it tells you the score, and you can break it down and read into every single brand. So it's really, really good. So this will help.
Yeah.
Debunk
it was
this.
So interesting because this month I got a notice from Supco. They send like their newsletters, and they were third party testing creatine. Do you remember us talking about this? I feel like you were visiting when we were talking about it. And they tested like several gummy creatines that you could get like on Amazon and stuff, and some of the powder forms like pills. And what was it, like 90%, 4 of the 5 creatine gummies didn't even have creatine in them, or they had like such a small amount that it didn't even pass the test. Like, and these were just like popular ones on Amazon.
Weston literally asked me yesterday. He's like, can you get me gummy creatine things? And I was like, I have to do the research, because that's why I did all this research on the other one, because you're a teenage growing boy. Like, I want to make sure that it's like, I had to do all the research. So I was like, now I have to go do research on the gummies.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I really just want to take a gummy and have it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds too easy.
There was one that they were like, hey, if you're going to take a gummy, take this one because it passed. So I'll have to find the article and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, find that article and send it my way, because then that would save me a lot of work. So I appreciate this random drop of knowledge.
That's an easier way to get them to take it. Like, that's great with teenagers.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was like. And it's important to him. So I was like, I want to support that too.
I feel like he'll do better too. Creatine's such, well, we're going to talk about creatine in the future because we're loving it. So, okay. Yeah. Was that all of our myths? Oh, myth number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all women need the same. And this is a myth because needs vary by age. They vary by activity. They vary by health. I think they vary by genetics, honestly. Like, it just, and
it varies by, like, you said age.
Diet, right? Yeah. Lifestyle. Yeah. It's just, there's so many components. And we are sisters, right? 100% sisters. And our test results weren't the same. So it's
night and day different.
And we even have similar diets. Like, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you that it's very individual. And that's why you really just have to be your own detective. Warrior. You have to figure them out right? And
Yeah.
that's just what it takes these days. It's very interesting because I was talking to my sister-in-law. Her husband was in medical school at the time, and I was complaining about something about my doctor who was just like completely not being helpful, which I stand by. He was really not being helpful. But she was like, it's really frustrating because her husband, I think, was in his residency or something. And she was like, he has a really hard time because people come in just expecting him to fix everything. Like, this hurts, fix it. What about this? Fix it. And she's like, doctors really only serve the purpose of fixing what they can, identifying something that can be fixed, something that requires intervention that they can help you with. And then the rest of the things are really not their responsibility. My health is not my doctor's responsibility, right? And that stuck with me for years. We probably had that conversation 10 years ago. And I'm like, it really, the more I thought about it, makes sense that they're there for when things go wrong. They're not there to keep you healthy and to remind you to take your vitamins and to, you know what I mean?
Work out daily.
Yes, it's like they'll give you that advice. That's the way that society works right now. But that's really not the purpose they serve. It's more like, you got in an accident and there's a freaking chainsaw on your leg or something.
Yeah.
You have an infection and you need antibiotics, like legitimately stuff that you require medication to correct, right? Or there is some sort of thing going on in your body that a diagnosis is required to figure it out, or tests and things like that, right?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to like they're reactive instead of being proactive, whereas functional health is being proactive and like trying to make sure your system is functioning as best as it can for longevity, right? And like less stress on the body, like just like a calmer existence. Whereas like when you go to the doctor, you're either sick, you know what I mean? Like, whatever the case, you have pink eye, like whatever the situation, then you go there and then they fix it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they fix it. So I think that goes back to that too, is like, that's the difference between traditional medicine and functional medicine.
Yes.
Is that like one is proactive and one is reactive. Like they're trying to solve an immediate stressor on your body.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, I feel like minerals really, all of this stuff falls into that same category where we're talking about like the big thing we say is like, know your body, own your health, like take ownership. And this is another one of those things. And we're all individual. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, but it also means that we have to do our own work.
Yes. Yeah. If we want the results, we have to do the work.
Yep.
So
That is
overall,
true.
we've talked about the big five minerals. So some of the things that they do for us, like there's hormone balance, which is magnesium and zinc. So this will help you with your PMS, your menopause, your thyroid issues. And then there's energy and mood. So iron and magnesium will reduce your fatigue. It will help lower your anxiety. And then immunity is just like what we said, zinc and iodine. But I'm going to throw in vitamin C since we talked about how that connects with zinc.
Yes. Yep.
And then bone health is obviously calcium to prevent osteoporosis. Did I say that right?
You had it.
And then obviously longevity. They all support longevity with cognitive ability and your vitality overall. So, which is really like when we say longevity, really that means that we want to grow old the best we can. Like we don't want to have all these, we don't want to be like diabetic, not, I might be diabetic, so I should be, but you know what I mean? You want to try to be proactive about all of the things that could possibly happen. So then you can actually go into age and feel gracefully and be the best that you can be during that time without having to be reliant on medicine and external things to keep us functioning.
And you want to age the way that you were meant to, not age prematurely because we're not taking care of ourselves and the societal norms are killing people.
Yes. Yes. Our society does not set us up for success for longevity at all.
No, it doesn't. It's crazy. I mean,
and some barriers to our mineral absorption is like our dietary gap, absorption issues. Like sometimes we can't absorb like the different things that we're taking for various reasons. And then honestly, like feeling overwhelmed. Like a lot of people feel very overwhelmed about all the minerals. Like you like listening to this podcast, you might feel very overwhelmed. And you're like, oh man, I can't do that. So just listening to this podcast, you were like, oh, there's these 5 big minerals that I need to take. And then like, whoa, that's a lot. And it might feel overwhelming, but really if you break it down, you just do like one at a time, like start with one and then slowly add on to it. That will help with the barrier of feeling overwhelmed.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of our recommendations, right? Like what have you and I learned that has been huge for us. Because I feel like the biggest one is both of us take mineral salt, which we talked about in the hydration episode, right? Because first of all, because of the electrolytes that are in mineral salt, putting a pinch of that in your water, or things like that.
Into your water every morning, like it helps you get the mineral first thing in the morning. So she does Baja Gold and I do Celtic salt, which they're both recommended by Gary Brecka. And so I was like, oh, I'm fine in Celtic salt. So then when we were doing this episode, I thought like we compared the two and it was Baja Gold has 90 minerals. How many, Malerie? How many?
Yeah, 90 plus trace minerals in it, which is including almost all of the ones that women need specifically. I think the only one it didn't have is iron, and like the iodine and the zinc are like negligible amounts. It depends on the where they harvest it.
Yeah. So it could have it, it could not have it, but you can't count on it. So you have to get in another source to do it. But it's pretty like, so basically after this episode, I'm going to switch from my Celtic salt to Baja Fresh. Baja Fresh. Jeez. Baja Gold. Just because
we're not getting Taco Bell drinks, Larissa. That Mountain Dew is bad for you.
I know. It's silly.
Although I will say that in college, like Taco Bell with the Baja Fresh Mountain Dew, it was like the most amazing thing ever.
I've never been a soda person, so that's never been me. I was literally in my mind when I said Baja Fresh, it literally makes me think of like Baja Fresh here in California, which is a restaurant, which is like fresh tacos and fresh Mexican food, which is delicious, and I love it.
That does sound good.
That's where but it's funny how our different associations, you immediately associated it with that soda
I think
drink.
that was the Mountain Dew flavor. Somebody will have to correct me if I'm wrong.
And then I associated with Mexican food. That's so funny.
Sorry,
anyway,
she meant Baja Gold mineral salt, which is amazing. I mean, it's really good. And it has so many other minerals. We just touched on the top 5 today, right?
Yeah.
But just incorporating a mineral salt like that, even if you don't do the Baja Gold and you do the Celtic, it still has a lot of what we need that we may not be getting in our food like we used to be able to do.
Yeah.
And so that's a simple approach to just start addressing it. But the other thing we learned is lab work is crucial. So I feel like that those were our 2 big takeaways.
Yeah.
And it's not crazy expensive either. Like to get tested a couple times a year, it's a little bit of an investment, but I feel like given how much it costs to go to the doctor to try to figure out what the heck is wrong with you, it's pretty comparable.
Well, and it's like what did I always forget, the FMA or what is the
FMA, HSA.
Yeah.
I think
like if
FSA.
you do that, it's like, I always get the wrong acronym. If you do that, then that could be used for that, which is, functional, like for the functional wellness or ways to wellness, you know what I mean? Like that could be used for that, which is really nice and helpful because then it's pre-tax before your tax. So then it's like you get like a 30-40% discount on doing it. So if you could do that and then you can get your supplements and different things through that, then it will be a huge saver for you. But
like figuring out mine, right? Like, and I've been supplementing, I feel younger. Like, I just feel like I used to feel 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I really do feel like I feel the difference supplementing the correct minerals that I am deficient in, It makes a big difference knowing what they are and being able to target your approach. That's all.
And I know you're going to hate this comment, but we forgot to talk about like absorption issues. What causes them to, like, you could be taking the minerals and you might not absorb it because of various things that you do. And so some of the things that help you, limit you from absorbing the minerals to be the best you can be is stress. So if you're under chronic stress, like that can help you, like that could work against your body that you're not absorbing the minerals, even if you're taking a supplement. Caffeine works against mineral absorption, and then different medications that you might be taking could work about depleting your minerals. So if you're in those categories, you need to start like researching what pairs with them well and all that kind of stuff to help the boost uptake. For example, if you pair vitamin D or C, with zinc, you know what I mean? That like that could,
and calcium, vitamin D with calcium and vitamin C with zinc. And then I think some of them are fat soluble. So like if you have them with like fish or avocado or something with healthy fats, then it helps boost your absorption of those things. So that does take, I mean, we could probably even make a chart, right? That would be helpful that we could share with people.
Yeah. Which we haven't made yet, but we can make. So it's funny while we're doing this podcast, I agree with you, because that would be an easy cheat sheet to have for all of us, right? That would help all of us to just kind of retest ourselves. Oh, we need to do this and refocus, because let's get real. Like you could listen to a podcast. You're like, oh, this is great. I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And then by next week, you might have forgotten, like, what did they say? What did they say? Like, I need to re-listen to it. So we could definitely make a chart on that.
Yeah, I think so. I think honestly it would help me because like sometimes I just need a reminder. Like we should like make magnets that you can like, like merch. We're going to merch that's like My Wellness Rewired. And it's going to be like, if you need this, to eat it with this.
Yeah.
And I'll stick it to my fridge and it'll help me figure out. Because right now I'm supposed to be eating like leafy greens and red meats to help because I need a little bit more iron. But they don't want to put me on a supplement. They're like, just try to get it through food and let's see how it goes, which I'm about to get retested next month.
Or like your Brazilian nuts for the selenium.
For the selenium. Yep. I'm supposed to be taking those. I've been a little bit sketch on that this week. So I'm going to have to buckle down.
I know. And that's the best part about this is like you can have an off day, but then the next day, just do it again. You know what I mean? Never miss it twice in a row. So it's like, if you have an off day, okay. And then just start again. And so what are some things? So magnesium you can get if you eat spinach, almond, dark chocolate.
Nuts. Yep. Chocolate.
Yeah, nuts. And then obviously if you take supplement, and then iron, how do you get iron?
Red meat, lentils, spinach, pair it with vitamin C.
For absorption.
That's one of the ones.
And then avoid coffee and tea when you're eating iron. I know
well, I have like, because I fast, right? So like I have my black coffee in the morning and then I'll eat the red meat later. So don't take my caffeine, Larissa. That's not cool. I separate them. Okay. They're in separate rooms.
Two different lives.
Yeah. That's AM and PM. Okay. Okay. Zinc is like pumpkin seeds, beef, actually. I didn't know that.
Oysters.
Oh, fancy.
I mean, not that I don't like oysters. I'm just allergic to oysters. So I actually have no idea. I'm sure I like them because I almost like all the food, but I can't eat it.
I had an oyster.
Really? Are you allergic to shellfish?
No, I just
some people
don't like the texture. Have gotten like food poisoning from oysters. It makes me nervous.
Man, Sasha loves a good oyster, man. Like
it's like one of those classic things on sitcoms, right? They have oysters and then they're sick for the rest of the night. And it makes me, and I've gotten food poisoning from shrimp. And that was one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life. So I don't really want to go there again.
Yeah. Yeah. I have, my body tells me my body hates shellfish. So
You're allergic, aren't you?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, my body hates shellfish.
But it's not like, is it like anaphylactic or is it like hives?
No, my throat will start swelling.
Yeah, I've just always known you were allergic, so I didn't know how serious it was. Because whenever anybody says a shellfish allergy, it's usually severe.
And I didn't find out until I was like doing I was doing hair for a wedding in Pennsylvania with Gretchen, and I was like 18 or 19. Yeah. And I hadn't had that much because we grew up when you have a million kids in your family, you don't eat a lot of expensive food. And so I wasn't exposed to shrimp or shellfish early on in our lives. So then I was in there doing hair, doing for this wedding. And then April, her mom figure, was like, let me, she brought in a shrimp cocktail. And so I was like, let me try this because I like to try new things. Yeah. Dip it in. And then all of a sudden I was like, I feel funny. And so,
my gosh.
Yeah. The doctor said though, because I haven't had a lot, that every time I have it, the reaction will get worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And so now I can tell you if it's been in a trace situation, but it's not so bad where like it's immediate. Like it's more subtle because I've only had maybe 2 pieces of shrimp in my entire life.
Oh, that's so crazy. I've had so much shrimp.
No, well, my kids love it. Like everybody loves it. And I'm sure I would love it.
You would, but it would kill you.
Yeah. So anyway, back on topic.
Yes, calcium. Dairy, kale, fortified almond milk, fortified milk. That one you pair with vitamin D. And that's why a lot of times, like when I was getting whole milk, like when my toddler was drinking, I mean, she still is, but she's kind of like weaning off of it. I would always get the whole milk fortified with vitamin D because it helps with the absorption of calcium better.
And then iodine you get from table salt.
Yes. And other places.
And then the selenium you get from Brazil nuts, 1 to 2 Brazil nuts a day, which is really easy to do. But that also helps with thyroid function. And then always track it. Like to get your blood tested and know where it goes, because that is what is going to personalize it for you to help you be successful. Because again, just like Malerie and I said, we're very close, but yet so different in our. So that definitely makes our journey different. Like what she takes is not what I take.
Yep. And though you are likely deficient in something, you just don't know what it is. And I think the one that I know you have to watch going over on is iron. Like you don't want to have too much iron in your system because that can create issues. So I've only ever tried to supplement iron when I lab test confirmed that I was deficient, because that one can cause problems. The rest of them, there's not a ton of like warnings that we found on them. It's just iron, just to note.
Well, magnesium did have a slight warning, like don't.
Yeah, but I feel like it would take a lot to overdo it on magnesium.
That's probably true.
So that's kind of what we learned on this. And it's been a fascinating road. And I feel like we learned some things that I assumed that I should not have assumed, like that they're all electrolytes.
Yeah.
But yeah, now you know, and we will make a table because I think that could be useful.
So this week, try to pick one mineral to boost up this week. Like you don't have to do all of them because it could be overwhelming. So don't try to do all 5. But if you are taking, like, let's say that maybe you're a person who's taking like 3 out of the 5. You're like, oh, I'm good. Check on those 3. Like maybe try to look into one that you're not doing, or switch to the I want to say Baja Fresh, but it's not that. Baja Gold.
Yes.
Salt, because then you can just take a sprinkle of that in a glass of water every morning and drink it, and then you already have your minerals. And that's like such an easy hack, like really easy,
simple.
but you're getting your minerals in and it's simple and you're done. So don't feel like you have to do all or nothing. Like it can be very little.
Yes. Yep, exactly. It's just, and really you do just have to take it one step at a time. And honestly, if it's the situation, like for me, before I did my lab work, like when I noticed I was catching a lot of colds and getting sick a lot, I was like, I need to up my zinc because clearly my immune system needs some extra support. So I upped my vitamin C and my zinc. Like you can detective this, like there are ways to do it, And so it's really just about filling out your body and just being aware that these can be the answer to some of the problems you're having. It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
I know. I really thought that I didn't think we had very much to talk about, but I feel like we talked.
Yeah. There was a lot.
You just never know. Yes. Yeah, I agree. This has been a big game changer for me. I feel like that's been kind of one of the things that I've been figuring out without realizing what I was doing. I was just trying to solve some of my symptoms, right? This was one of the solutions that I found. So I love sharing stuff that I figure out because it was hard earned.
Yeah. Well, and we'd love to hear all your successes and failures. Yes. So go on to our Facebook group and our, I don't know what else we have.
Any of our socials.
I was like, this is Malerie's area of expertise. So I'm like, what do we have, Malerie?
Yeah, our group is My Wellness Rewired, or you can go to our website, mywellnessrewired.com, and all of our social media is there. You can join. And we would love to hear stories. If you've had some of the similar experiences or questions or success stories, if you try it out and it helps, like we want to hear all of the stuff. So I feel like we'll probably do like a live episode sometime just to like have some live interaction with people and hear what they think.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah, everyday gals sharing their stories, Well,
and it'd be very educational.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. Okay, I think that's it for now. So thanks so much, and we'll catch you guys next time. All right, you wellness rock stars. That's a wrap on this episode of My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. We've had a blast dishing out the hacks and laughs, but hold up, let's keep it real.
Yep, we are not doctors. We are just sharing our biohacking adventures and learning right alongside you. Nothing we say is medical advice, so always, always check with your healthcare provider before trying any new wellness tricks.
Absolutely. This podcast is all about inspiration and entertainment, not prescriptions. So join our Facebook group for more sassy wellness vibes. Catch you next time.